Welcome to the Black and Green podcast. It's your go-to place to find the latest high-quality, all-natural products created by Black artisans. Hosted by yours truly, Dr. Kristian H., the founder of Black and Green. We'll discuss all things health, wellness, self-care, and of course, self-love. This podcast features a refreshing lineup of guests, from entrepreneurs and artisans to holistic lifestylists and clean beauty experts, and a plethora of other innovators within the wellness industry. Join me as we learn from the best of the best. Hi, thank you guys for joining the Black and Green podcast. I'm so excited about the very interesting conversation we're going to have today. We're going to turn this podcast on the head, and Yve-Car is going to ask me questions instead of me asking her questions. I'm so excited to see where this goes. Yve-Car, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. This is Yve-Car, CEO and co-founder of Kreyol Essence. We make organic and natural beauty products with ingredients from Haiti. And I am so excited to have an opportunity to spend time and exchange information and ideas with you today, Kristian. We haven't caught up with each other since your accident. So as soon as I got on, the first thing I thought about is I need to know what's going on with you. I need an update just because I am so proud of what you've done with Black and Green. And I like to know the story behind the brand founders who are making an impact in our community.
Oh, thank you so much for having that thought and being thinking about that. I think that's what makes Black and Green different, is that when people are purchasing products from Black and Green, they're supporting Black women entrepreneurs. They're supporting people. They're supporting stories. And I love the podcast because at the end of the day, we're just two women trying to make it in this world and trying to do our best way to do that. But we're people. We're humans behind this. We aren't some big corporation. Right. So I love the connection to people that we get with Black and Green.
Awesome. So the last time we saw each other, we were at the Indie Beauty Conference, and I'm curious how things have been after the accident. What have you felt is most important for you to continue to do with Black and Green?
Yeah. So if you guys don't know who are listening, I was in a car accident in the middle of the summer of 2019. I was in a coma for a month, and I had to learn everything all over again. I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to talk. I had to learn how to eat. I had to learn how to drive. I literally had to learn everything again. I said that one of the things my husband said, or I think was a great way to put it, he's like, I was almost like I was going through adolescence all over again. So as soon as I came out of my coma, I was like a 2-year-old. And I was asking for my brother a lot, and I was playing little games and tricks with him because at that point, I was a 2-year-old. And so I kind of got to do my whole maturation again in a year, which was which can be very disheartening for the people watching it, because now here's your 30-something-year-old daughter acting like a 5-year-old, which it happened. And so I matured through again, and it took about a year and a half where I get back to the point where I am functioning and walking like my age. I know how to do everything I knew how to do. I know I got discharged from occupational therapy and physical therapy and speech therapy, and I was doing all those things to get back at the point where I am now.
Wow. That's powerful. What was the thing or things that helped to accelerate that growth process, right? So you essentially took something that was done over 30 years and did it in a year. Exactly. What did that do to your psyche, your personal and mental well-being, and what supported you through that process?
Oh, gosh, that's a really good question. I think it was tough. There was a time where I I felt that I wasn't smart anymore. I felt like because of my injury, because of my memory, I was no longer intelligent. And so I had to kind of fight through those emotions, working with my therapist, help me process the things I'm going through and understand that memory is not a sign of intelligence. And so I had to work through all of that and say, okay, what is my core passion? I also think it made me think about life and death in a much different way. I think death being so close to me by the doctors who were there, they would say I was one of the most traumatic brain injuries that they had ever seen. And they prepared my parents and my spouse and my son that I may not ever be myself again. Mm-hmm. I may always be irresponsive to things. I may not ever talk. I may be in a vegetative state for a while. So they prepared them for that. And so I think by going through that, my memory of it is I don't remember a lot about it, although I do have a memory where my dad's mother, who I had never met, when I was in my coma, I met her and we talked and she looked at me and she said, "Now's not your time." Ooh. That's the only memory I have. And then I told my dad that, and he thinks that's so crazy. She said, "Now's not your time."
I think that's powerful that you were told in the universe and larger beings said it's not your time. Yes. And normally when it's time, it's because there's something you're placed on earth to do. So what are you placed on earth to do, Kristian?
That is a question I've been trying to understand. I've been trying to unpack that. I said, now is not my time because I need to be doing something. What do I need to be doing? And as things are being pulled away from me, I was a full-time professor. I'm not anymore. What am I supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be a mother? Is my goal supposed to be black and green? And that's what I'm thinking is now. My goal is to empower and enrich the other Black women artisans that do not have anyone else to wrap their hands around them. I think that is my goal. When I got out the hospital, I had over 100 applications of people trying to get on black and green. I was like, okay, I need to engage with these people. So that's our process now. I couldn't do it right away because they were like, "Girl, what is this mess you bringing us on to?" But as I'm getting things in order, we're going through those applications and bring on these women who have a dream, have a goal, who want to create a product, who want to change the world, but they need a first opportunity. I'm thinking that may be my goal, to create that first opportunity for Black women who want to enter this space, this beauty space, this wellness space, who want to do that. But I don't know. I'm still searching. I'm still praying. I'm still meditating. I'm still saying, let me know. I'm listening. I'm listening. Just let me know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think it's beautiful that you're able to be candid and also share with folks that you're listening, you're open, and you're still thinking about it. Because I think often when one sees a founder of a business or a leader, there's this assumption that you are 100% sure about what you're doing, what you did, and how you're going to go. And that's why you are confidently going in the direction that you are. But oftentimes leaders, founders, and makers, it's a process and it's a journey. Yes. And it doesn't mean it's 100% accurate or sure. You're just following the signs. You're following the crumbs and your intuition and guidance. And that's actually, I think, braver to do than being 100% certain and going ahead.
Yes. I think what I think, my opinion, is that 100% sure in moving forward is fake. It's like we're forcing people to believe they have to operate that way. And so they operate that way knowing deep down they really aren't. I don't think we give people enough grace and enough space to be unsure. I think it's like you said, it's a process. It's a journey. And we are all looking for the answers. We are not 100% sure. We're on that process of trying to get there.
Grace and space. I love that. That's tweetable, as Oprah would say. We all need that grace and space. Now, as you talk about the process of, growing, healing, walking, Black and Green actually did not go out of business. It kept going.
It sure did.
So could you talk to us about the team that kept things running and why they kept things running?
Oh my gosh, you might make me cry. One of my best friends growing up, I met her in 3rd grade. The second she heard about my accident, she was living in Texas. She hopped on a plane, flew to my house, picked and packed all the orders for me.
Wow.
Because she said, I know Kristian would not want this to fall, and I'm going to make sure this continues to go forward. This is not her background. She's in PR. But she put down everything and came here to run a company with no experience doing that.
I just got chills because I thought it was your team that was already in-house that kept things going. I would have never thought it was a friend who just decided they were going to pick it up on your behalf because they knew you wanted this. That's powerful.
Yes, that's how it works. Of course, my team helped push my social media. So my team was still doing my social media stuff. They were still doing my newsletter stuff, that kind of those pieces. But the packing the orders, my friend who flew in to do it.
Wow.
And it's so funny the way that things work. Right before my car accident, I was talking to fulfillment centers to figure out where I wanted to go. I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, I'm big enough now where it's time for me to move to a fulfillment center. I hadn't moved yet. I was talking to them. I was in conversations with them. So once I was discharged from the hospital, I could start picking those conversations back up and do it, but it wasn't done yet.
I remember because you were looking at specifically Black-owned fulfillment centers that you wanted to be.
And I found one. I'm so happy.
And I love that you're so intentional. Like your goals, your dreams, your target audience, there's such clarity and love for the Black community. Where did that love come from?
Oh, that's a really good question. Now let me think about this long and hard. I think I have a very interesting answer to this. My grandmother, my mom's mother, was fighting for civil rights. I think it goes down to at my core. I think I came from a woman who believed that Black women need access, and she was a fighter. She fought to the day that she died. My mom was fighting to the day that she dies. I'm fighting until the day that I die. And I think each generation wants to be a little bit better than what they had the generation beforehand. So I think it comes down to my core. I think it's in me. I think I was born with it. I was born with the spirit that wants to fight for equality for Black women.
Wow. Now, as you are on this journey to fighting for Black women, after George Floyd, there is this outpour of support for all things Black, like Black, but it's like really in now. Yes. And in our space, which is CPG, consumer products, beauty and wellness, there's also been lots of activity for retailers and individuals to focus on not only the Black consumer, but Black artisans, as you like to call us, which that's what we are. And as you look into the future of Black and Green, as you're looking to the future of what it is to provide wellness for Black women, what do you see?
I think I see a day when Black and Green isn't needed. That's an interesting answer, but I really think I see a day when Black and Green isn't needed. I see a day when all products are all natural and non-toxic. We have regulations and rules that demand it. The same way that other countries have a lot of rules and regulations, but the U.S. does not. I think that the U.S. will have those rules and regulations soon. I think there will be a day when all marketplaces are looking for Black and brown people to put on the shelf. We won't need a special place because that is going to become common for all marketplaces to do it. So my biggest dream is for Black and Green as a marketplace not to be needed.
And once you're not needed, then how would you continue your purpose? Do you have a vision or an inclination of how you would continue to be of service?
Yes. When I dreamed up Black and Green in 2017, the marketplace was always the first step. It was not the end all be all. That was always the first step. My second step after the e-commerce marketplace is to migrate into creating a brick and mortar locations of wellness and happiness, where people can come in for green juices and for kombucha and for tea and co-work and get a massage and get a manicure, get a pedicure, do a yoga class, work out, and be in the community of wellness and happiness and greatness. That's my big picture. If I can create physical locations where women can connect with each other and feel comfortable doing that. When I got on the wellness journey myself, I felt isolated and I felt alone because oftentimes there's this space with white women. And so I want to create a space of wellness and happiness where Black women are there. I want to go to yoga class and be in the yoga class of Black women.
What do you think is the difference between wellness or the experience that you feel when you see wellness with Black women versus white women?
For me, personally, it's about my inner self feeling comfortable. It's releasing. When I'm in a room of Black women, I can release and feel comfortable in a way I cannot when I'm not in a room with us. And I don't know if that's unique to me, but there's a sense of clarity I feel when I get to be in a room of other like-minded Black women. It makes me feel whole and complete in a way to actually experience my yoga practice, for instance, where if I'm not in a room with us, I'm going to be on edge. I'm going to feel like something's going to happen. I have to worry. I have to watch. I can't really truly let go. Now we will pause for a moment of meditation with Dr. Crystal Jones.
So whether you're listening to this podcast as you're walking down the street or in your car, in your home, or in your bed, just want you to find a comfortable position where you can relax and take focus on what's happening right now. And as we do this, I want you to focus on your breath, focusing on the fact that your answers are always in your breath. Feeling your breath, not judging it, but experiencing what it feels like. If you're able to, you can close your eyes. If not, just keep your focus. Notice where your breath is racing through. Where are you trying to meet so many deadlines in life? Notice where your breath is moving in the same cycle or feeling stuck. Where are you in destructive cycles in life? Where are you not changing the script, but only changing the characters in the play? Just take a moment and notice what your breath feels like and how it relates to your life. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, let everything go that's not serving you. Reminding yourself that you can keep anything that you want to keep. You can let go of anything you want to let go of. But honoring your truth in this breath. As you're breathing in, you're creating. As you're breathing out, you're creating space for what it is that you desire. Little by little, letting go of what's not serving you. And honoring the spaces that asks you to hold on at this moment, taking your time and being present. Continuing this breath until you feel like you've let go of everything that's standing in the way of creating what you desire. And as you feel like you've let everything go, bring the awareness back into your body. Back into the space of wholeness. Come back into the space of truth. And move forward, knowing that you're whole always, and that you are the one that you've been looking for.
So what does your spiritual and wellness practice look like? You've mentioned yoga, so it sounds like that's a very strong and core part of it. But, what is Kristian's top 5 spiritual practices or wellness practices that you must do?
Yes, yoga is definitely an important part of it. Journaling is also something I've been doing more of, trying to process my own thoughts and emotions with myself. Journaling more is really important to me.
Are you a messy journaler, or do you have it by tabs and written all out?
Messy. I'm messy journaler, got messy handwriting. You don't know what my journal is. It's funny because I've gone back and wanted to find something I wrote, and I couldn't.
You couldn't read it.
I said, oh, Lord.
Here.
I said, oh, Lord, I don't know where this is. Also, being around other Black women is a part of my wellness.
I like that. Practice. That's part of the spiritual practice. That's beautiful.
Like going to on a tea and meeting up with someone and just talking. Doing these podcasts is also a part of my practices. I've scheduled it to make sure I always do these because they make me feel whole. They make me feel complete. This is a part of my self-care practice.
I love that. Now, I know this is going to be controversial, but you got to tell me your top 3 products.
You knew it was controversial, didn't it?
It's okay. You are exempt from saying Kreyol Essence castor oil products at the moment, since I'm the one talking to you. But give me 3 items that, let's just say, it just came to mind. We can tell everybody she loves all her brands. But 3 products that you've been like using in this season.
I say that asking my favorite product is like asking a mom who's her favorite kid.
For your child. Mm-hmm. And we know that they'll say, I love all my kids the same way, but we know there's a favorite. So
exactly. That's what I love my products the same way, but I definitely have my products that are better for me. For me personally, because I think the beauty of our products is that there's not one size fits all. Mm-hmm. Depending on your hair type, depending on your skin type, depending on what's happening in your life. So there are better products for certain people. Every single product I have tried. And there's certain products that I love that I keep ordering more and more of. Mm-hmm. For instance, Lodia hair care products are products I love. Mm-hmm. And so I make sure I use the Lodia products. Your castor oil, even though you said you're exempt, I'm still going to say it. My husband loves yours. So he gets mad, and now he compares when someone else, like when we have people applying, they say this castor oil. He said, well, this is not like the Kreyol Essence castor oil. That one's better. I was like, okay, I don't know what makes it different. So I was trying to debate. I was like, I mean, it's just an oil. Okay, no, it's different. I was like, okay, I guess.
That's a smart man. We're going to keep him. We're going to keep him.
Oh, God. So those products, I love products that are unique and are like they're hard to find. And so, like for instance, the Black Girl sunscreen, I love that product because
I'm such a fan of that.
It's a unique product. They solve the actual problem. So I love products that solve an actual problem. So that I love that sunscreen, and I use it every day the way you're supposed to use it. Yeah. But I think the way that sunscreen operated in the past before Black Girl sunscreen, you couldn't use it every day because you couldn't
because it almost feels like you're just applying lotion. It doesn't feel like you're even having to put on sunscreen. Exactly. So I'm moisturizing, so it's a simple joy. I have it all over my house.
Yep, me too. So I love that product. I saw, and then I'm also trying new products. So I have new products I'm loving that aren't even on Black and Green yet. Yeah. So I'm loving those. Like a new product I just tried that I really, really like is a face soap. And so I'm used to my face wash being like a cream or like a gel, but this one is actually a soap, and I really, really like that aspect of it. So that's a new product that I like. That another reason I like it is so easy to travel with. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to travel with.
Our soap is much easier to travel with.
Okay. Exactly. So I'm loving the new products I get to try, and I'm excited about them. Another new brand I just tried has a candle that's not in a tin canner and it's not in a glass container. She has her candles packaged in a very special way. They are not breaking in shipment. I love that. I have so many issues of candles breaking in shipment, but the way her candles are packaged, they can't break. So that's something else I'm really, really loving. Because I love it when you solve a problem.
Yes. Not just creating a product just to create it, but you really want to solve something that is a problem and an ailment for your customer. I think that's important.
Exactly.
Now, as a businesswoman, a smart, beautiful businesswoman, we're going to get a lot of advice from individuals.
Yes.
Could you tell me about maybe something someone has advised you that you don't completely disagree with, don't completely agree with, but that you're kind of mulling over, that you're thinking about?
Yes. We get so much advice, which is good and bad. I mean, honestly, it's good and bad because sometimes people think of things you do not think of. So the advice, you need it. But I think you also need to be able to think for yourself in some ways and hear their advice and process it and think about it. Like, okay, is this going to work for me or is this not going to work for me? You can't just take everything you hear and run with it, and you can't push everything you hear and push it down. Like it really takes a lot of discernment to figure out what serves you and what doesn't. The piece of advice that I'm still mulling over is the value of Black and Green doing some sort of courses or an ebook or doing a course of kind of like how to live an all green natural life is something I've heard about that I'm mulling over. Something else I'm mulling over is that I had my second son in the shower while I was at home. So I did all.
So it wasn't planned. It's not like you wanted to give birth at home.
Actually, I did. I wanted to give birth at home. So I had my birthing pool out there. I had my midwife was going to call. I had this whole thing set up. But I was in the shower and I had done all the things that especially yogas you're supposed to do when you're pregnant. I've done all that stuff. The hypnobirthing, I did all that. So I was ready to have a home birth. So I was going down the process. I was ready to do it. I was in the shower and I look at my husband and I said, I think the baby's about to come. He said, no, it's not about to come. I said, no, baby's about to come. And then he put his hand down and he said, oh my gosh, that's the head. And
wow.
So he pulled my baby out here. I called my midwife and said, hey, the baby's here. You want to, come clip the cord? And so it was like a painless situation. This first thing I said when I got done is like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. I wonder if I should have a girl. My husband said, you're still connected to this one. Like, be
present.
I was like, okay, you're right. I'm bad. But the interesting story is that as I tell people that, someone said, what would be amazing if you started some kind of, in Black and Green, some sort of like midwife delivery, some kind of course thing. So she said I can do something about a painless, enjoyable birth. So that's something I'm mulling over. I'm not exactly sure how it fits into the mission of Black and Green, but that's something she said can be a something we fix or a problem that we solve, that we can help solve. So I'm still kind of mulling that one over.
Gotcha. What's the advice or the type of advice that you've been rejecting that you've been getting a lot of?
Ooh, what's the type of I know exactly what this is. I say Black women, and people tell me every day to say people of color.
Talk to me about that. What is the distinction in their mind between Black people versus people of color, and why are you resistant and 100% pushing back to this?
I've been getting this since day one. People wanted me to say people of color. I was like, no, it's for Black women. Because Black women are different from people of color. And people use the term people of color when they mean Black women, which it drives me crazy. I said, be true to what you're saying. If you say
two are not interchangeable. So be clear on which one you want.
They're not very interchangeable. And I'm choosing my lane. So you should say people of color and allies. I love people of color and allies. I think that they have a lot of complex issues that we need to solve. Like, I get that. And I love their support. I get that. That's not what Black and Green is, though. I remember sitting in a pitch competition at the very beginning where people said I could not get Black women to spend money on healthy products. I remember that like it was yesterday. I was like, oh, I can? Oh, I cannot? Right. I kind of want to find this man and say, oh, I thought you said I couldn't do it.
We'll find him. Come on, man out there. Years later, look at the thousands of women who are buying from Black and Green and from Kreyol Essence and from a number of different
He's like Black women. He's like he was trying to feed to me the narrative that Black women will not invest in themselves, and said you're wrong. You are wrong. Black women will invest in themselves, and I'm unashamed going to say for Black women.
Yes. Snap, snap, snap. Snap is not hiding. I'm snapping over here. Mostly because I love someone who has clarity in their mission, their voice, their thought process, and is unashamed in a world that often wants to either silence us or correct us for our thought process or for having different thoughts. Right? Yeah. Because for me at Kreyol Essence, I'm also very clear that we are for all people. Like I am big on, please don't tell me I can only sell to Black women.
Exactly.
I also want to sell to Latinas and white and Asian, because as a Haitian woman, in my community, it's super diverse. And because we've had so many challenges with colorism and this and that, I want to unify.
Yes.
Right? But that's my mission in my lane. But it doesn't mean that I have to be like, well, Kristian, you need to do the same thing. No, exactly. I'm equally as proud, especially as a Black woman, to be like, there's someone who's championing, who's like, no, this is my lane. We're focused on our Black women.
Yeah. And I love your lane too, because a narrative that you're helping me with is I get questions all the time for white women who said, can I use this? Can I use Black soap? Deep down, I always have a joke like, girl, you better watch out. It's going to turn your skin black. But I mean,
I'm like, because we don't ask, can I use this?
No, we
We've
do not.
often had to just try it and pray that it doesn't hurt us. So it's like, if we could be open as Black women, sometimes I'm like, please don't start with this.
Yes. So that's why I say I think it's beautiful to understand there's a lane for everyone.
Yes.
And the lanes do not need to be the same, and they shouldn't be the same.
They should not.
Everyone has a different goal they're trying to meet.
Everybody's got a ministry.
Yes. I need you out there to help teach the white women that they can use Black soap.
I'm like, please, like, ladies, just grab the Black soap, put everything else down, understand why your skin looks so great. Yes, it's our melanin, but also we use amazing products and ingredients from the market.
Yes.
So grab some Moringa Black soap. Now, my final question for you is, there's a lot of talk right now, especially because, again, Black is super sexy, for folks to invest in Black businesses. When you think about whether you should take on capital, whether you should take on investors, what are the things that are pros and cons in your mind? And what have some of the conversations been? Because I want to go beyond that. Only, less than 2% of Black people get VC funds. Only 0.5% do X, Y, and Z. But in today's realm where there's a fervor for it, what's your thought process and experience been today?
Yes. I love this question. I am getting to the point where I'm shying away from taking an investment. And I think the reason why I'm shying away from it, I'm not closing the door, but I'm not searching it, is because there's 3 reasons. I can see if I can think of all 3. The first reason is there's a lot of free money that I don't need. It's not an investment. There's free.
Right. It's non-dilutive. It's not going to take equity from you. You can get a grant.
There's a lot of free money out here because everyone is trying to support Black brands. It's like, let me go after as much of this free grant money that I can find. So I think that's my first reason. My second reason is because my mission is not financially driven. And I'm worried that can bump heads with an investor who's going to be looking at the bottom line. And I'm not operating out of the bottom line. I'm operating out of a bigger goal and a bigger purpose. And I'm fearful that me getting in the bed with an investor is going to pull away from the core of Black and Green. I don't know if any of this is true, but that's how it feels to me.
Right. And then for you to be honest and for us to talk out loud about here are some of the things that could be of a concern or things that one has to consider.
Exactly.
If you are looking at bringing, investors in so that we move the conversation beyond, okay, so now we're hot, they want us, but should I take this money and what do I need to think about? That makes sense. And I think you're also talking about alignment, which a lot of entrepreneurs forget. And I hear a lot of horror stories about it. And I've even had some horror stories around bringing in people who are not aligned with the vision and the goal of the company. So that is something that is critical for, entrepreneurs and individuals to think about when they're starting a venture. And then I guess the last question is, what's your relationship with money? How do you think about money then? Because you've mentioned that, the bottom line is not the driving force for your business. But then at the same time, I'm also very passionate about financial freedom, economic development, and have a reverence for what one can do with money. So, and I want to see more of us have money. So what's your relationship with money?
So my view on money is a tool. Money is a tool that has been used to systematically disenfranchise Black people. Money is a tool that we can use to empower us. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. And I think that my relationship with money is changing because after my car accident, being so close to death, I understand that money is not something that's going to get all of my attention. And I'm not going to change everything for $1. I'm not going to change my core beliefs for $1. I'm not going to change who I am for $1. So I'm not willing to change my views or my beliefs. I worked hard enough that I can operate in the world and see money as a tool. But I understand that there's people who cannot do that because money controls them. So I think that is I see it's a tool that's often manipulated and often used to pull people down. And my goal is to use money to push people up.
Love it. Kristian, thank you so much for being willing to entertain my questions, for inspiring me today and inspiring those who are going to listen. I mean, some of the things I wrote down that are going to stick with me is grace and space, that we need to give ourselves that. I love and really appreciate the love that you have for Black people.
Yes.
And you are changing the narrative that, women can't get together, where you talk about your peace, and part of your self-care practice is being in the presence of other Black women, doing yoga, connecting, having tea. And I think that's powerful, and that speaks to the connection between what you love and what you're doing right now. And then lastly, that money is a resource. It's a resource to do what you need to push your mission. And your mission is clearly to elevate, promote, and ensure that, and incubate really Black indie brands, and ensure that they have a space where they belong and where customers can go and know a trusted, vetted entity has, supplied them with access to products. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you to your great husband for loving Kreyol Essence, and for also, sounding like he again, changing the narrative. Here's a woman who is doing things, and there's a Black man supporting her.
Yes.
And I think we need to see that. The fact that you have the kids, you still got the babies.
Yes.
So again, something else I know that entrepreneurs, particularly women, are often, scared and wondering if they can do. But you're a great example that, it is possible. So I appreciate you.
And I thank you for switching this on its head. I think this was beautiful. And I always, someone just asked me if I need a podcast script. I said, no, I don't want podcast scripts. I want to just see where it goes and see where it takes us. And where it took us today, this is exactly where it needs to be. Thank you for tuning into the Black and Green podcast. Did you have more questions for our special guest? Please leave your questions in the comment section. Also, check us out at BLK+GRN.com. Please subscribe and comment. We love hearing from you. Until next time, buy Black and live green.